So I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with the incident in Minneapolis that happened with the mother of three that was deleted by the ICE agent because she tried to run the ICE agent over with her vehicle. And so he shot into the car in self-defense. One thing that people are not taking into account is the fact that when you are inside of a vehicle, you can use that as a weapon. It is considered a weapon when you are inside a vehicle and you try to run someone over. Why? Because you can cause bodily injury to that person or even greater, death. It's that simple. Now, my take on the issue is that she should not have been where she was. She should not have been impeding traffic because she was blocking ICE agents from doing their jobs. One thing that y'all have been brainwashed into believing is that ICE agents aren't real law enforcement. Well, I have news for you. They are law enforcement. And if they give you a lawful order to get out of your vehicle, guess what you should do? Get out of your vehicle. It's that simple. See, some of us are living in one reality while others are living in another reality. That is the problem here. And the people that are living in an alternate reality are easily brainwashed into believing certain things. Now, that's not to say that the people living in the opposing reality are not brainwashed as well, because a majority of us have been brainwashed into believing or thinking like, but I see that one side is more dangerous than the other side because they are teaching you that for whatever reason, you must believe that that ideology is the only one and that any other ideologies are not true. That you must believe that you are above everyone else. And everything you are fighting for, you believe to be fighting for, is the just cause. And anyone else that is against that cause is the enemy. That is the problem here. Now, we are about to dive deep into this conversation with Melanie Phillips, who had a conversation with John Anderson on the Anderson podcast. And she is describing the mind of a liberal, what we call a liberal, a person of the left, a person of the Democratic Party. This is who they align with the most. These are the ideas that they align with the most. And I have always been fascinated to know how this type of person thinks. And Melanie Phillips, thanks to her and John Anderson, explains the mind of a liberal person.
The Western liberal mind conceives of itself as being good because it's liberal. The Western liberal tells him or herself, I'm a good person because I'm liberal. I'm liberal because I'm a good person, which means that I believe in things like the brotherhood of man, conscience and compassion, looking after the wretched of the world, the poor and the wretched of the world, standing up against abuses of power. These are all good things. And
the savior complex.
That's why I'm a liberal. And I'm a liberal because of all these good things. So one of the expressions of my goodness and my liberalism is that I support the Palestinian Arabs, who I think are an oppressed people, and they are oppressed by the Israelis, who have taken their land away from them, and they are oppressing them. Now, every part of that, in my view, is a lie. But put that to one side. This is what the liberal progressive thinks. And the liberal progressive thinks that supporting the Palestinians is therefore something that makes the liberal progressive a good person. October 7 happened. And suddenly you have a situation in which the people that the liberal progressive has supported as being oppressed, and everything they do is a legitimate defense or resistance against oppression, suddenly we can see that those people have turned into the most bloodthirsty savages that could ever be imagined. Not just people who kill, but who slaughter in a sadistic, barbaric, debauched and depraved fashion that people can't imagine ever happening.
If you don't know what happened on October 7th, which I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with, when the Palestinians or whoever that side was, they invaded an Israel. If you're not familiar with October 7th, that is when a terrorist attack occurred in Israel, where a group of people on one side invaded a festival and kidnapped several citizens of Israel and some American citizens. Yes, we're not going to name that group, but that's exactly what they did. And you had the divide between people of different cultures, people of different nations, people of different countries who were siding with one side and siding with the other side. And you had a clash there between different classes of people, between different races of people, even different nations. They were all feuding between who was right and who was wrong. I see everyone as being wrong, but that's not for me to decide. That is for you to decide which side you align with the most. And some of y'all have been brainwashed into believing that there's only one side, when in actuality, I always say there's always three sides to a story. Yours, his, and the truth.
They have slaughtered, raped, beheaded, tortured, burned alive babies, children, women, elderly men, and others, and in which the people that they have supported as being oppressed and good people because they're victims are these savages. People, you know, the cause they have supported as representing goodness is shown to be evil. And what does that make them? It makes them evil. So they can't have it. So what do? They go to extraordinary lengths to pretend that black is white, that justice is injustice, that oppression is resistance, and vice versa. So they have to projection.
Yes.
So you accuse them of genocide. We hear it also regularly. The Israelis are accused of being Nazis. It's the same thing. It's not simply an offensive thing. It's a very deliberate thing, because if the Israelis are Nazis, then we are free. We, the liberal West, are free. Any kind of guilt, any kind of association with bad things, because they are to blame. They are the people who are bad. And so we are free to continue with our fantasies of us being good people. And I think that's also what lay behind these amazing scenes that we saw on social media of people with their hands tearing down the posters of the hostages. Now you have to ask yourself, what's going through the mind of someone like that? These pictures of babies, of children, of women who had been kidnapped by bloodthirsty monsters, by savage, depraved savages, and were being almost certainly subjected to untold horrors. And yet they were torn down, and the faces of the people tearing them down were contorted very often with rage and hate. And you have to ask yourself, what's going on in the mind of that person? And it seemed to me that they had to literally, with their fingernails, tear it out of sight. It was something that could not be tolerated to be in existence at all. The very concept of the Israeli babies and children as victims of the people they had been supporting.
Because in order for you to continue living your lie and believing that you are this justice warrior, that you are on the side of good, you are on the right side, that you are doing God's work, in order to continue believing this and perpetuating this lie, you must not allow any other narrative to be pushed, including pictures of innocent babies, children, elderly, women. You cannot allow that to be up. You cannot allow people to see pictures of them like this, because when you go into the mind of a person like this, they must not allow, if you believe in anything outside of their ideology, outside of what they believe in, they demonize you. They see you as being the enemy. They will punch you, kick you, spit on you, run over you with cars. Do you see what I am saying now? They will do whatever it is. They will even shoot you, just like they did what? Charlie Kirk. They will assassinate you because they cannot allow you to push another narrative aside from the narrative they have already been told and the narrative they've been brainwashed to believe. This is the liberal mind, and you cannot argue, fuss, fight with this type of person at all.
Because it contradicted the narrative on which they had hung their own moral worth.
What did I say?
And it seemed to me also they were tearing the Jews out, trying to tear the Jewish people completely out of their world, out of their sight, out of their world, out of their minds, out of their thoughts, and out of their consciences. That's to me what it represented. And this whole inversion of genocide thing is part of that. It is not just disgusting. It is not just ridiculous. It's evil. And I think it is a symptom of the evil paths into which the West has fallen through its embrace of a whole range of ideologies, a whole range of thinking,
feminism,
which I think has come to define
libertarian,
what we call the liberal progressive West.
That's a fact. There are so many ideologies we've fallen victim to in this country. You have been brainwashed into believing so much that you live, you breathe, you eat, you sleep, you shit these ideologies. And when you look in the mirror, you do not recognize the person that you were because you're not that same person anymore. These ideologies actually run your life. These ideologies actually run who you are. They decide who you are and what you think. We have so much issues and problems in society today. The West is falling. When I tell you the West is falling, I am only saying that so that you can focus on what's at hand, with the task at hand. And it is to make sure you do not fall victim to these ideologies, because sooner or later, when you look in the mirror, you're not going to recognize the person that you are. And you will not continue to live in a country that is free. That is because these people are telling themselves that they are on the right side of history, and whoever disagrees with them is on the wrong side, and they are willing to do anything it takes to get you out of the way. Until next time.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.